Hey everybody, my name is Ed Trevors. I'm an Anglican priest in the Diocese of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I get to serve in the beautiful town of Shelburne, Nova Scotia, in the awesome parish of Church Shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I give thanks for you all every day. I thank God for the time that you spend with me. I thank God for the prayers that you offer on my behalf. And I thank God especially for all that you're teaching me and sharing with me in the comments and in your emails. I cherish this. I cherish you. Thank you for being a part of my life. Now, I'm going to say something. Promise me you will not turn this video off. Promise? So the other day I heard something that made me feel somewhat bad for Tucker Carlson. Apparently on his news program, no, that's not right. Apparently on his show, he challenged President Trump's lawyer, the lawyer who's taking care of this election thing. I can't remember her name. I apologize. But he challenged her, and he said that she wasn't offering any evidence, she wasn't offering any proof to him or to anybody else, including the courts, that would help President Trump win the numerous lawsuits that he has out there in order to that he's trying to use to overturn the results of the election. And apparently his fans decided to take him to task. And they've been calling him names like traitor and sellout, and they've been tuning out. They've been leaving his show. They've stopped watching. Fox News, the channel, is actually experiencing something very similar. Apparently, everybody except for Hannity is seeing their viewers decline because they have also been challenging what the president has been saying and what his people have been saying. And so those supporters of Donald Trump, those supporters of President Trump, they're sort of leaving Fox News and going off and watching and subscribing to even more right-wing media sources. Now, as I see it, this is, at least in some part, Tucker's fault. Because for the last few years that he's had this show, he has never really set himself in a position where he could be a challenging voice to his fans. He's simply taken information that he's received, regurgitated it, processed it, and offered it back to them in a way that affirmed or supported or encouraged or even expanded what his viewers, what his fans already believed. Now, there have been times in the past where he would call the president up on something and hold him accountable, but never like this, and never at a time like this. Right? Never at a time where his fans could say, oh, you're jumping ship, you're abandoning us in our time of need. He has never set himself up as a voice that they would tune to hear something new and to grow. A voice that would challenge them to grow into something else. And in fairness, because he didn't challenge them to grow, they at no point challenged him to grow. He fed them everything they wanted to hear. And in turn, they fed him everything he wanted to hear. His popularity, prestige, celebrity, his fame, and money. What it makes me think of is something that I read in, I want to say it was like my first day at seminary. And it was in a class that we had to take on pastoral care. And my professor is a guy named Jody Clark. Hey, Jody. And Jody introduced me to an author by the name of Paul Tillich. Paul Tillich is a German-American philosopher and Lutheran theologian. He's brilliant. And his personal history is actually really interesting as well, but we're not going to get into that today. But in Paul Tillich's book, The Dynamics of Faith, And I swear, this was one of the first things that I read when I was in seminary, and it blew my mind that we were actually going to go down this road. It was invigorating and awesome and challenging and wonderful. See, I went to seminary with a very, very wooden theology. I went to seminary with a very clear understanding of what it meant to be a Christian. And seminary, as difficult as it was for me, and it was really difficult, it almost killed me. Spiritually, it almost killed me. But now looking back on it, I see it as a moment of growth. I see it as a moment where I was challenged. That in this seminary, they weren't just going to tell me what I already knew and what I wanted to hear. They weren't just going to affirm what I already believed. They were going to cause me to think. They were going to challenge me to explore. I'm incredibly grateful. 10 years later, I can finally say that I'm incredibly grateful for that. Back to Paul Tillich. What he says is, doubt is not the opposite of faith. Doubt is an element of faith. For faith to exist, there must be risk. I am grateful. I tell you this all the time, but I'm grateful with this channel that you disagree with me from time to time. Now, I think when you disagree with me, you're probably absolutely wrong and not worth listening to. No, I'm teasing. I swear I'm teasing. But I am really grateful that these reflections are being treated as reflections. That sometimes they open our eyes to something new, and sometimes they make us argue. They make us argue a point. They make us aware that there's another view for us to take into consideration. They force us to use our imagination and our creativity. They allow us to speak back and forth. They allow us to grow. I pray that they are a catalyst for all of us, whether we agree with what's being said or not, that they act as a catalyst that help us grow into becoming who we truly are. Tillich's words, doubt is not the opposite of faith. Those are wildly important. See, for us to have a vibrant faith, it must be challenged by questions. It must be challenged by scratching our heads. It must be challenged by seeing things in different eyes and from different perspectives and from different angles. Our faith must be challenged if it is to grow strong. And that's not just our Christian faith, it's whatever faith you happen to hold. If your faith, if your belief system, if your value system, if your ideals can't stand up to challenge, can't stand up to a little doubt, then when it comes time to actually use them, they won't be there for you. They won't be up to the task. So for you out there watching this, whatever your faith happens to be, whether you're a Buddhist or Hindu or Christian or atheist, it doesn't matter. Whatever value you put stock in, whatever faith you put your hope in, allow it to be challenged. Allow yourself to experience doubts, because it's those doubts that will make you ask questions, and it's those questions that will bring forth answers, and it's those answers that will expand your universe. It will expand your way of seeing the world and seeing one another, seeing our communities. It doesn't matter if you're a fundamentalist, a charismatic, a denominationalist, a sacramentalist. Allowing doubt in helps us build our spiritual muscle. It helps us build the muscle that is our faith. It helps us build the muscle that we need to do the work that we're being asked to do. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, and I pray that you will always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray also that when doubt comes your way, when true questions come your way, you won't shy from them. You'll take them and you'll treat them like the precious thing that they are. knowing that they are going to make you a stronger person in the future. Amen.